Welcome to the Deep Dive, everyone. Today we're diving deep into Marta Williams's book, Learn Their Language: Intuitive Communication with Animals.
It's fascinating stuff.
It is, and I'm excited to explore this world with you. Is it real? How does it work? Can we even try it ourselves?
Well, one thing that really struck me about Marta's approach is how she doesn't just rely on personal stories. She brings in science, history, all sorts of things.
Right, like she's building a case.
Yeah, she's creating a more complete picture, how we connect with animals on a deeper level.
And she tackles that skepticism head on.
Right. Oh, absolutely. From the get-go. She even prefers the term intuitive communication instead of psychic, you know?
Yeah, it feels like she's acknowledging that not everyone's on board with this concept to begin with.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like she's inviting us to approach it with an open mind.
So who is Marta Williams? What's her background?
She's got a master's degree in biology, she worked as a wildlife rehabilitator, and even studied the impact of pollution on birds.
Wow, so she's coming at this with a pretty solid scientific foundation.
Exactly. It's not just coming from a purely mystical place.
Right, so she's bridging that gap between science and intuition, showing that they're not mutually exclusive.
Right.
You flagged some pretty intriguing anecdotes in the book, like the story about the horse Tequila and that long-distance rib injury.
Oh, yeah. That one's wild.
Can you tell us more about that?
So Marta's contacted by a horse owner, Terry, who was having some serious issues with her horse, Tequila.
Uh-huh.
Tequila had suddenly become aggressive, difficult to handle.
Okay.
And get this, they weren't even in the same state. Over 1,000 miles apart.
Wow.
But Marta, without even seeing Tequila, she sensed a pain in the horse's fourth rib, on the left side.
Hold on, so she's pinpointing the exact location of an injury from miles away.
Yeah, and it gets crazier. Terry, even though she was skeptical, she took Tequila to the chiropractor. The chiropractor confirmed it. Fourth rib was out of place. He was astonished.
I bet.
He even expressed interest in learning how Marta did it.
What did Marta learn from this experience?
I think it reinforced that lesson, that tangible results can sway even the most hardcore skeptics.
Yeah, you need to see it to believe it sometimes.
You do, especially with something like medical intuition.
Okay, so we have this long-distance diagnosis.
Right.
You also pointed out this case with a dog who could predict his owner's arrival time.
Oh, yeah, the dog who knew when his owner was coming home.
And there was actually a scientific study on this.
There was. Rupert Sheldrake. He's a biologist well known for his work on animal intuition.
Mm-hmm.
He found this dog consistently sat by the door about 10 minutes before his owner got home.
Really?
Every time. And the crazy part, the owner's return time was randomized, like completely mixed up, to make sure the dog wasn't picking up on any routines or cues.
That's fascinating. So there's data suggesting animals have abilities we don't even fully understand.
There is. It challenges a lot of our assumptions.
All right, now for the skeptical woman and her dog, who supposedly loved wearing a party hat.
Okay, yeah. So Marta's working with this woman, super skeptical about all this animal communication stuff. And as Marta tries to connect with the woman's dog,
Okay.
she gets this vivid mental image of the dog sitting happily at a table with other dogs, all wearing party hats, enjoying carrot cake.
A dog party.
A dog party.
That's hilarious.
Right.
But is there a deeper meaning here?
Oh, absolutely. It might seem whimsical, but it highlights that intuitive information. It can come through as images, feelings, even physical sensations. We try to put limitations on how intuition should work, but it often surprises us.
So we have these intriguing anecdotes, hints of scientific validation. But how do we make sense of it all? What are the key takeaways from Marta's book?
I'd say it boils down to a few core principles. First, intuitive communication is real. It's not just wishful thinking. It's backed by evidence. Second, it's a skill anyone can develop. It's not some exclusive gift. With practice and an open mind, anyone can tap into it.
So anyone listening could potentially do this.
Exactly. And third, by tapping into this deeper level of awareness, we can forge stronger bonds with animals, enhance their well-being, and gain a richer understanding of the natural world.
It's not just about quirky stories or fringe science.
Right.
It's about a profound connection that exists between all living beings.
Exactly. And that connection has been recognized for centuries, especially by indigenous cultures. They see this communication with animals as integral to their worldview.
Right. It's like a completely different paradigm from our modern Western worldview.
It is. We tend to see ourselves as separate from nature, superior to it.
And that's led to a lot of the environmental challenges we face today.
Exactly. Marta argues that to thrive on this earth, we need to relearn how to live in partnership with all life forms. And intuitive communication is a powerful tool for that.
It's not just about understanding animal behavior. It's recognizing a deeper level of consciousness.
Right. And there are fascinating examples throughout history. The Wintu tribe in California, for instance. They believe that humans can communicate with all aspects of nature. Rocks, trees, animals. It's an inherent part of their heritage.
It's like they never lost that innate connection.
Precisely. And this wasn't just some isolated belief system. Walking Buffalo, a Stoney Indian from Alberta. He spoke about communicating with trees, he believed they could talk to each other, and even to humans who were willing to listen.
That's remarkable. It really challenges our assumptions about intelligence and sentience.
It does, and it makes you wonder, what if the natural world is far more aware and communicative than we give it credit for?
That's a big question, but how do we reconcile these indigenous beliefs with modern science? Is there any scientific basis for this kind of communication?
That's where things get really interesting. Mainstream science has been slow to embrace intuitive communication, but there's a growing body of research that suggests it's a real phenomenon. We're not talking about mystical mumbo-jumbo. There are legitimate studies exploring these abilities.
So it's not just about ancient wisdom or anecdotal stories. Science is starting to catch up.
Exactly. Like, one of the pioneers in this field is Russell Targ. He's a physicist who did extensive research on remote viewing.
Remote viewing. That's the ability to see or perceive information about a distant location.
Yes, using only your mind. And what's remarkable is that Targ's research, which was even funded by the military, demonstrated that ordinary people, with just a little training, they could accurately describe locations or objects, things that were miles away.
Wow. So there's evidence that humans can access information that's not available through our normal senses.
There is. Targ calls this the non-local mind.
Mind-blowing, really.
Yeah.
And how does this connect to animal communication?
Well, Targ's research was mainly focused on humans, but his findings have implications for communication in general. If humans can access non-local information, then it's possible that animals could possess similar abilities.
Especially considering all those stories of animals sensing danger, predicting earthquakes, even knowing when their owners are coming home.
Exactly. And there are researchers specifically looking into these animal abilities. Remember Rupert Sheldrake, the biologist who studied the dog predicting his owner's arrival?
Yes.
Well, he's done tons of studies on animal intuition, showing that animals often behave in ways we can't explain with our current scientific understanding.
So there's evidence to support what many people have intuitively felt for a long time.
Yes, that animals are far more perceptive and intuitive than we give them credit for.
Okay, so we've talked about the history, the science, even the skepticism. But what about the term psychic? Why does Marta prefer intuitive communication instead?
You know, psychic just carries a lot of baggage.
It does.
It brings up images of fortune tellers, paranormal claims, things that are often ridiculed or disbelieved.
Yeah.
Marta acknowledges that. And by using intuitive communication, he's trying to shift away from the sensationalized.
Toward a more grounded understanding.
Exactly. It's not about predicting the future or doing parlor tricks. It's about tapping into a deeper level of awareness and recognizing how interconnected everything is.
It's about opening ourselves to a different way of perceiving the world.
It is.
Okay, so we've laid some groundwork here. We've explored history, science, skepticism.
Yeah.
But how does this actually work? How do people receive intuitive information?
Well, that's where we'll delve in next time.
I'm all ears.
Get ready. It gets fascinating.
I can't wait.
Welcome back.
So we left off talking about intuitive communication and how it works.
Right. We were discussing how to create that internal space for intuitive communication to really flourish.
Yeah, clearing the static, tuning into a different frequency. What are some practical things people can do to develop those skills?
Well, Marta suggests a few techniques that I think are really helpful. One of them is visualization.
Okay, visualization. I've tried that before, mostly for relaxation. How does that apply to intuitive communication, especially with animals?
It's about consciously using your imagination. Create a mental picture or feeling. Marta suggests this visualization, envisioning your entire body opening up to receive intuitive impressions.
Oh, interesting.
She describes it as extending your consciousness upward, like connecting to a vast library of knowledge.
Like a cosmic internet for intuitive insights.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're not so visual, it could be about feeling a sense of connection, being plugged into something larger than yourself.
Okay, I get that. What else?
Another powerful technique is breath work.
Breath work. Okay. I've been meaning to try that. What's the connection to intuition?
It's a profound connection. Our breath is linked to our nervous system.
Right.
When we slow down our breathing, we shift out of that stress and anxiety mode into a more relaxed and receptive state.
It's like hitting pause on fight or flight.
Exactly. And when we're relaxed, intuition can flow more freely.
That makes sense.
Marta even suggests combining breath work with gently rolling your eyes upward. It's subtle, but it helps induce a theta brainwave state, which is linked to deep relaxation and heightened creativity.
So it's like shifting your brainwave activity
Yeah.
to a frequency that's better for intuition.
Precisely.
So visualization, breath work, theta brainwaves,
Yeah.
anything else.
Those are some core techniques. Marta also stresses the importance of positive self-talk,
Okay.
rewarding yourself, even for small successes.
Like we do with our animals.
Exactly. Celebrate those small wins and be gentle with yourself. You're learning, right? It's a new skill.
Patience and self-compassion.
Yes. And that goes for the results, too.
Yeah.
You're going to face some challenges when you're starting out.
Sure.
Intuition might be fuzzy, or you might misinterpret things.
That's a little discouraging.
But think of it this way. Every mistake is a chance to learn.
Hmm.
Approach it with curiosity, not judgment.
Trust the process.
Exactly. And here's another crucial tip. Don't censor yourself.
What do you mean?
When you're getting intuitive information, write it down, record it, whatever. Even if it seems silly or illogical, don't edit in the moment.
Turn off that inner critic.
Yes. Let it flow. You can always sort through it later, but if you censor yourself, you might miss something important.
So let it all out, no matter how weird it seems.
Exactly. Okay, so now that we've got this groundwork, let's talk about how to use these skills to actually communicate with your animals.
That's what I'm most curious about.
So the first step is surprisingly simple. It's talking to them.
Wait, really? Just talking to them like I normally would?
Yes. Like they understand every word. Acknowledge their intelligence. Treat them as conscious beings, even if we don't fully get how it works.
So shift our perspective a little.
Exactly. Even though it seems small, it can really change your relationship.
How so?
It opens up that channel of communication. You're not just giving orders or doing basic care anymore. You're having a dialogue.
Like sending out an invitation
Yeah,
to connect on a deeper level.
right. And their response might surprise you. Marta has all these stories of animals that change their behavior dramatically just because their humans started talking to them.
Really? Like what?
Okay, there's this one with Deb Steinberg and her mare, Star. Star absolutely refused to load into a trailer, made it impossible to transport her.
Oh, I've heard that one before.
So Deb starts talking to Star about the upcoming move, why it was necessary, reassuring her everything would be all right.
And what happened? Did it work?
When the time came to load, Star walked right into the trailer. Calm as could be, like she understood everything Deb had told her.
Wow, just by talking to her.
Yes. The key is to be genuine, heartfelt, respectful. Talk to them like you would a close friend. Share your thoughts, your feelings, your intentions.
Be open and honest.
Yes. And that includes talking about the tough stuff. If you're having a behavioral issue, talk to them about it. Explain what's bothering you, how it makes you feel, what you'd like to see different.
So it's like approaching the problem together, as a team.
Exactly. Talking won't solve everything, but it creates a foundation for understanding and cooperation.
It's about building a partnership based on respect and open communication.
Yes. And what's great about this approach is how simple it is. You can do it every day. It's about recognizing they're more than just pets. They're sentient beings with their own thoughts, feelings, and perspectives.
This sounds great, but how do we know they're really listening?
Right. It's a fair question. While we can't ask them directly, there are little things to look for. Subtle signs.
Like what?
Watch their body language. Do their ears perk up when you talk? Do they turn their head toward you? Do their eyes soften? Those are all good signs they're paying attention.
So those subtle shifts in how they're acting, those moments where they seem present.
Yes. And you might also see changes in their behavior over time. Do they seem calmer, more cooperative, less likely to do those unwanted behaviors? Those could be signs your communication is working.
So it's about observing those subtle changes in their overall well-being.
Exactly. And sometimes the evidence is a lot clearer. Marta tells this story about a client whose horse, Dylan, was trained with voice commands. During a group intuitive communication session, Dylan told the students, through Marta, that he was worried about stepping on cats.
Wait, hold on. The horse was communicating.
He was, and none of the students knew about the cat at Dylan's stable that loved walking around the horse's feet. It was verifiable information.
So he was talking directly to their intuition.
Exactly. And the more we practice tuning into that channel, the clearer those messages become.
Okay, so we've got talking to them, recognizing the signs they're listening, and even getting verifiable information. What else should we know about communicating with our animals?
One crucial part is understanding their past, their experiences, especially for rescue animals or shelter animals.
They might have been through trauma or neglect.
Exactly. Intuitive communication can help uncover those stories, help them heal.
How does that work?
By tuning into their energy, we can often sense bits and pieces of their past.
Like accessing their emotional history.
In a way, yes. We might get images, feelings, even snippets of memories. And by understanding that past, we can be more empathetic, more compassionate, more patient with them.
It creates a safe space for them to let go of those old traumas.
Exactly. And sometimes those experiences can explain their behavior. Marta worked with this rescue dog, Jet, skittish around men. Through intuitive communication, she learned that Jet had been abused by a man with a mustache, who wore a white t-shirt and a cowboy hat.
So very specific details.
Very. Once the owner knew this, she could approach him differently, avoid triggering those bad memories.
So it's like having this key to unlock their emotional world.
Yes, understanding makes a world of difference in helping them feel safe and loved.
Okay, so understanding their past is super important. Anything else we should keep in mind?
Oh, yes. Something small but surprisingly important. Their name.
Their name, really?
It might sound strange, but a name carries energy. It vibrates with the animal's being. Sometimes a name can actually hold them back.
Like how?
Think about names like Trouble or Killer. They have a negative energy to them.
Yeah, like they're setting them up to be bad.
Right. On the flip side, a name chosen with love and intention, that can have a really positive impact.
So changing an animal's name could actually be a form of healing.
It can be, especially for rescue animals. Giving them a new name, it can be a fresh start.
Like saying, you're not defined by your past anymore.
Exactly. And animals understand that energy. They feel it.
So even something as simple as a name change, it can be powerful.
It can. Okay, so we've talked about talking to our animals, understanding their past, the importance of names. Now, what about medical intuition and animal health? That was a big part of Marta's work, right?
Yeah, let's get into that. That's where things get really interesting.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
We were just talking about using intuitive communication to help find lost animals. It's like having this extra tool in our search kit.
It is. And it can give us clues we might not get any other way.
But communicating with wildlife, that's a whole other ballgame, right?
It is. But it can also be incredibly rewarding.
Okay.
Remember, communication isn't just about words or commands. It's more about energy and intention, respecting boundaries.
So we're not trying to tame them or control them, but really just connect with them on their level.
Exactly. It's about coming to them with humility, a genuine desire to understand. Recognize they have a lot to teach us about the natural world.
I bet it takes a lot of patience to make that kind of connection.
It does. And it's important to remember, too, that not every encounter is going to lead to, a deep connection or some big revelation.
It's about being open to the experience, whatever happens.
Exactly. And sometimes the most powerful moments happen when you least expect them.
Can you give an example of what someone might learn from communicating with a wild animal?
Sure. Marta shares the story about a woman who's facing a tough decision, needed some clarity. So she goes for a walk in the woods,
Okay.
and she comes across this deer just standing peacefully in a clearing. The woman felt drawn to it and intuitively sensed this message of peace and stillness, like the deer was reminding her to trust her gut, surrender to the flow of life.
Wow. It's like the deer was a guide for her.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of it. Wild animals can give us these perspectives, these insights we might not find anywhere else. They remind us of our connection to nature, help us tap into a deeper wisdom.
So it's more than just facts or information. It's about feeling connected to something bigger.
Right. And Marta even suggests we can communicate with the spirit of a place, the energy that's there.
The spirit of a place, that sounds a little out there.
Think about a place that's special to you, maybe a forest, a beach, even your own backyard.
Okay.
Each place has a unique energy, a vibration.
Like a personality.
Yeah. And by tuning into that energy, we can learn so much about the history of that place, the ecology, even the emotions connected to it.
So it's about more than what you can see. It's like feeling the soul of a place.
Exactly. Marta says that by connecting with the spirit of a place, we feel a deeper sense of belonging. a sense of being part of nature.
Not just a visitor.
Right. It's
Yeah.
recognizing that we're woven into the fabric of life.
So, as we wrap up, what are the big takeaways from our deep dive into this world of intuitive communication?
First, it's real. It's not magic. There's actual research to back it up, and it's something anyone can learn.
Okay.
It just takes practice and an open mind.
Like learning a new language.
Yes. And second, it can really change your life. And the lives of the animals you love.
Strengthen those bonds?
Exactly. It can help you make better decisions for them. And lastly, I hope this has sparked some curiosity in you to explore this world.
To step outside our comfort zones.
Yeah.
Challenge what we think is possible.
Yes. And who knows what you might discover when you open yourself up to the wonders of the natural world. It's been great talking about this with you. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into intuitive communication with animals and nature. We hope you keep exploring this fascinating topic and see what magic you can find.